Install Mudflaps on a Tesla Model Y should apply for all model years, unless the new Juniper model is slightly different, but it's very simple. You really don't need any tools other than what's supplied in most of the kits. I got mine from Vugosson. I'll include a link below. The reason I went with the ones I ordered is mainly because of this. I definitely want to make sure that Mudflaps are soft. If you live anywhere where it snows, you'll know that as you're driving along, the snow will kind of build up as the tire flicks it back onto this. If you have those hard ones, it kind of just becomes a giant chunk, but the soft usually can fall off. And also, the Model Y is not super high off the ground, so any speed bump or pothole you go into, there's a good chance you may hit the Mudflaps. If you have those rigid ones, they're probably not going to break, but it's not going to sound good. But these soft ones will just easily bend out of the way. That being said, the mounting surface is like a rigid plastic compared to the softer rubber compound that they're using here. So definitely happy with how these look. They're sleek and they look. I like the color. The finish looks OEM to me. So go ahead and show you how to install these now. So each pack will come with, this is the rear, and this is the front. Also comes with the install hardware itself, this trim removal tool, which I did not need. Comes with this wrench to aid in installing the rear Mudflaps, which I did use, but if you had any sort of socket, whatever size this is, you could easily use that as well. It did come with this very small screwdriver to remove the trim pins that are already in the car. This is too small in my opinion. It breaks the edges of these pieces of that are on the car already. So if you have yourself just larger flathead, I feel like I get a lot more leverage and can remove them, and I'll show you that here in a minute. You can see right here is why I'm looking to get Mudflaps. I'm not as sure if it's just a factor of how heavy the car is and the tire compound that come on these OEM tires, but they really just kick up a lot of stuff, especially on the back of the car. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw these Mudflaps on. For the front, if you want to make it easier on yourself, definitely turn the tires. So I'm installing on the driver's side right now. You'd want to turn your wheel all the way to the left. That'd give you a ton of extra room in here. That being said, it's still pretty simple. I'm gonna show you to do it without moving the tire or anything. The only thing you're gonna need is a flathead screwdriver for the front. There are 2 connectors that you'll have to remove. So there is a little lip, and all you do, kind of sneak in behind it here, and just kind of wiggle your way around, and those just come right out. On the front Mudflap, you'll notice there's these 2 hooks. They need to go inside of this fender liner here. So what you'll do, kind of get a sense of where the holes need to be, and then just make sure you've slid that in. You'll kind of know it's in because it should kind of, for the most part, hold itself there. What you do is you just line it up, stick it in, get it in the existing hole. Kind of like to push everything tight, stick that connector in, and then you kind of got to push it in. And then we do the same thing on that rear one. Again, just go, find that hole. Don't mind my hands in the way here. Get it lined up. There you go. Installed. So starting on the rear here, they're pretty simple to do, but there's a couple things to remove. First off, underneath the car, behind the rear tire, there's this bolt. That is what the wrench that they provide you, which is here. Use that to remove that plus the washer. And then inside of the wheel well, you do not need to remove the tire, by the way. There are 2 pins to remove, this one and this one, and I'll go ahead and show you that now. So you take your flathead screwdriver. You'll see there's a little indentation where you can remove the push pin itself. Just kind of work it in, and then just a little wiggle, the whole thing comes out. Do that again on this one next to it. There we go. And I've just gone ahead and removed the bolt that is underneath the vehicle right here. It is a little snug in there, so definitely going to use a little bit of finger grease, I'd say, just because the wrench they provide is so short. If you have your own socket set, I would definitely just recommend doing it. It'll be easier, but can be done easy enough with this. So now you'll take the mud flap, and the way they are oriented is this clip goes towards the back of the vehicle. So to know which side is which, it's going to be for the driver's side, the large U shape goes towards the outside of the vehicle. So it goes in just like this. And you'll notice there are these hooks right here that hook onto the trim. So pretty much impossible to mess up, but you will feel that. You kind of have to slide it in behind the plastic fender here. And then once you've got that in there, it's as simple as grabbing one of the connectors and the pins. You just push the connector into the previous hole, make sure it lines up. I can feel that it just went in there. Grab one of the new pins, send it home. And then just rinse and repeat. Last thing to do is install what the instructions call for is another push pin that they supply back into here. I prefer just to reuse the bolt and washer that came with it. So go ahead and stick it in there. Start it by hand so we don't cross thread. You definitely don't want to over tighten it, but when you remove it, you'll kind of get a sense for how tight that was in there. So get that pretty snug, and that's it. You've installed the rear mud flap. Here we are walking around the final install on the rear here. You can see a lot of that road grime from the salty, wet roads. So I definitely think these mud flaps are going to help a ton. Happy with the way they turned out, and they look great. Here's a side profile. You can barely even notice those in the front. I was concerned it'd really change the look of the car, but I'm super happy with how they turned out. Anyways, links in the description. Hope this helps.